The next batch of 23 Starlink satellites for SpaceX's space-based internet service reward into orbit atop a Falcon 9 rocket launched Sunday from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station at 4:35 p.m. Est 22:35 UT. SpaceX had earlier announced a 4-hour launch window that opened at 4 p.m. It's 2100 UCT, but it needs to clear the way for the inaugural launch of United Launch Alliance's Vulcan rocket from neighboring Pad 41. The rocket was only raised upright on the launch pad at around 1 p.m. Est, leaving crews racing to meet the new target launch time of 5:35 p.m. Est. SpaceX's vice president of launch said in a post on the social media network X, it was a new Falcon record for total time from hangar rollout to launch, 6 hours 33 minutes. The company has set the objective of launching 144 Falcon missions this year. To date, it has flown 3 successful missions in 2024. The first stage booster supporting this flight, tail number 1067, was making its 16th flight, becoming just the 4th booster to reach that milestone. There are only 3 other boosters with a longer flight history that are still in use after Ben 58 was unintentionally destroyed during the recovery process. 1058, 19 flights destroyed. 1060, 17 flights, next flight TB. B1061, 17 flights, next flight TBD. 1062, 17 flights, next flight TBD. 60, B1061, and B1067 all have the distinction of launching 2 Crew Dragon spacecraft each during their lifetimes. Ben 80 is set to join that club later this month when it launches on its 5th flight with the Axiom mission. 3 astronauts aboard Crew Dragon Freedom. About 8.5 minutes after liftoff, B1067 landed on the drone ship a shortfall of gravitas. This was the 56th successful booster landing on ASOG since it was put into the mix. The other East Coast-based drone ship, just read the instructions, is still out of commission for servicing in North Carolina. SpaceX confirmed a successful deployment of the 23 Starlink V2 mini satellites just over an hour into flight. The next SpaceX mission on deck is the Starlink 710 flight, set to launch from Space Launch Complex 4 East ESLC-4 at Vandenberg Space Force Base on Tuesday, Jan. 9 with a window that opens around 9:12 a.m. Est, 500 UTS on Jan. SpaceX has not announced the number of Starlink satellites that will be on board that flight, or if there will more of the new Starlinks that feature direct-to-cell functionality. It will be followed by another Starlink delivery mission from Cape Canaveral on Jan. The launches come as news regarding SpaceX Starship rocket is set to be on the horizon. Just over a week ago on his social media site, ex-SpaceX founder Elon Musk said he would be giving a company talk to SpaceX employees to mark their 2023 accomplishments and discuss the year ahead. Recently, during an unrelated live stream on X, Musk stated that the talk would likely take place on Thursday, Jan. 11, and would include updates on the company's Starship rocket. If this happens, it would mark the first substantial update on the pivotal launch program since the second integrated flight test launched from Starbase in southern Texas in November. There's been a flurry of activity at the development and launch site in recent weeks, including the test firings of both Ship 28 and Booster 10. SpaceX referred to them as the Flight 3 Starship and Flight 3 Super Heavy booster respectively in social media posts. SpaceX said in posts that a single engine was fired on the Starship upper stage demonstrating a flight-like startup for an in-space burn. Following the test firings, eagle-eyed viewers spotted SpaceX testing the payload bay door on the Starship, potentially indicating that this next mission could include some kind of payload. The forthcoming announcement from Musk will come on the heels of another marquee event next week that could concern the rocket. In a late Friday notice to members of the press, NASA announced that it will hold a media teleconference to discuss the latest on the Artemis program and the return of humans to the moon. The update will be led by NASA Administrator Bill Nelson and will feature Jim Free, who as of the start of 2024 is now the NASA Associate Administrator, following the retirement of Bob Cabana, Catherine Corner, Associate Administrator for the Exploration Systems Development Mission Directorate, and Amit Kshatriye, the Deputy Associate Administrator for the Moon to Mars program, will also be participating. The notice to the press also stated that industry partner representatives also will be available to answer questions, though it doesn't explicitly state if that includes SpaceX or the developer of the lunar spacesuit set to debut on the Artemis 3 mission, Axiom Space.